All right, so we all know Kyrie Irving is like the most impossible person to guard in the National Basketball Association. I, myself, personally am not saying that anybody is capable of stopping Kyrie Irving, but I do think that there's some things that you can do defensively that can make it a little bit more difficult for him to just maneuver through the paint, for him to get to his spots, and just give him a little bit more trouble. It's not just going to take one person. It might take the entire team. I'm yours truly, Crisco Fontaine, a.k.a. Coach Crisco. See, I got my coach's hat on. I will be breaking down a few plays, giving my insight defensively. I used to be a hooper back in the day, somewhat. Not a pro, though. Just giving my insight, giving defensive stances, defensive positioning, and things that the opposition could have done slightly different to make it a little bit more difficult for Kyrie Irving, my little brother, to maneuver and get to his positions. Let's get into him. Here's a play from the Western Conference Finals. Kyrie has the ball at the top. He's going to look for a screen here. And watch the screener. Now McDaniels is right on him. He's a terrific defender. Screener's in position. And he switches over. So now they're playing drop. Gobert's the help. There's no way that McDaniels can recover. He's completely out of position. So what needed to happen here is, if you're going to concede the three, there's so much space here in between Kyrie and Gobert, too much space. So if he comes around, as we slow it up, he comes around. That's a wide open shot. Although it is a deep three, and Kyrie isn't like necessarily known as a 3-point shooter, that's still a wide open shot for a good shooter. Just look how much space that is. You're giving up that much space to anybody. You're giving them a good shot. Any shooter with this much space is going to take this shot. That's too much space. So we roll it. 3. The only way you combat that is if you Gobert, you have to step up. This is the main reason why Minnesota struggled against Dallas in the playoffs, because they did not get away from the drop coverage. Luka and Kyrie abused them in the drop coverage the entire series. They never got away from it, and they gave up easy shots to Kyrie, and they let Luka get in deep enough to the paint that once Gobert or whoever was in the drop coverage decided to step up, the man behind them wide open for a lob. Okay, here's a play against the Clippers. Now, if we run the tape, he has coffee on him, gets the switch on Harden. He just takes Harden to the cup. Now, in my humble opinion, again, I am not a pro. Let's rewind this. Once he gets the screen on Harden, let's slow it up. He sets him up right there. Let's play it. Now, look at Harden's feet. If you play in defense, how should his positioning be? Now, I don't know if Harden, if in his mind, if he's playing because he think he has help on the backside, but that's Luka over there. So if he's playing Kyrie to the left, any help is going to come from Zubac. I always grew up on, and I know there's a different philosophy now maybe, but you do not help on ball side. That is not where the help comes from. You have one guy over there. If he comes over for the help, you're leaving a shooter wide open. You never help on ball side. Never. So as we play it, he plays him left. Now, there's a lot of options here that Kyrie has. If you notice, there's 1, there's 2, there's 3, there's 4 guys around him. You got a shooter right here. He's not paying attention to his man. So you got a shooter right there. I mean, technically Luka is wide open. Gafford right here is blocking him out. So he basically has a wide open cup. Because he's not going to step up too much. He's not going to want to step up too much, even though he's out of position. Paul George, I believe. This is the biggest threat right here if he wanted to make a pass. But what I'm saying is, if we go back to here, if I'm James Harden, I'm more right here. This is the only thing that hurts me. Him going left. Him going right does not hurt me because I got a guy here, I got a guy here, and I really have a guy here, honestly. I know he's going to take him, but I want to play him back to the middle of the floor. So if I'm Harden, I'm playing him about right here. If you notice, Harden is pretty much face-to-face with him. You do not really want to be face-to-face with Kyrie. You want to play him to one side or another. So if he's on the left side of the floor, you want to play him back right. If he's on the right side of the floor, you want to play him back left. You want to play him to the center of the floor. That's where you want to play him. If you're going to play one-on-one with Kyrie, you have to play him back to the center. He sets him up, got the bop, got him off his hip, and it's all she wrote at that point. Once he gets you on his hip, it's over with. There's nothing you can do. Paul George could have came up a little sooner. That's an easy layup. Somebody that is shifty as Kyrie, never want to play him face up. You want to play him with angles because he is so shifty. You want to cut off one direction or another. If you're playing him straight up, you're basically giving him either way to go. He can bop you and get to the left or get to the right, wherever he's wanting to go. If you're on a wing, the best thing that you can do as an offensive player, if you're on any wing, is to take that wing. You do not want to go back to the middle of the floor. If you're a defender, you want to play him back to the middle of the floor. That's where all your help is. Here's another one against Minnesota. Now, there's many different ways that I guess you can interpret this. This drop coverage, I'm never really a fan of, and especially when it involves the defensive player of the year. Now, if you're in drop and he's coming around the screen, at this point, who's guarding him? Now, Gafford does a great job of rolling immediately after he sets the screen. So it's really tough at this point to stop this play. This is almost an inevitable play here. Ant is out of position. So Ant is out of position all the way. Now, what could happen? Gobert steps up. He closes space. Now, Gobert, although he's the defensive player of the year, has won it multiple times, he's not a great defender on the perimeter. But this space needs to be closed up. Ant has no chance to get back in this play. Again, like I said, when Kyrie has you on his hip or has you playing from behind, the play is over. Gafford rolling immediately, like I said before, makes this play. It's kind of difficult for him to help off, It would almost need to be him stepping in, but if he steps in, then it's kind of impossible to full rotate. So if we play it, Gafford is doing the best job to make this play. Gobert, I'm not even going to fault him at this point, because if he steps up now, that's an automatic lob. There's nobody that can come and even remotely come close to stopping this. Now is the time where he steps up so that Gobert can get all the way back home. Close off Gafford, because Gafford is the threat right now. You got a shooter right here. You can live with that. Naz Reid is out in the middle. He can stunt and get back, hopefully. But this guy, he has to close up space. So if we run it, he didn't step up. You see Gobert's in the middle of no man's land. Gafford wide open, nobody there. That's a lob. Easy play. So this is when team defense is important. Help side defense is important. At that point in time, Alexander Walker is your help. He has to close up that space. Once you get to this positioning, it's no longer on Gobert. He can't close up. The threat is here. You have to close that up. The fact that the space wasn't closed allowed Kyrie to get to that space and it forced the issue. At that point, if Gobert steps up any, which he did just a little bit, but he didn't have his attention on Gafford at all, he can't stop that. If he jumps up with Gafford going up, he has his back to Gafford. If there's any contact, that's a foul off the rip. So there's nothing you can really do unless you cut off the angles, close up the space immediately before you let him get to it. Because once a player like Kyrie gets to his space, there's nothing you can do at that point. Here's another play that shows what I mean when Kyrie gets a player on his hip or gets him behind him. Just how shifty he is. We run the play. Looks to be a transition, but they're back on defense for the most part. He has Kyle Anderson on him. Now watch what Kyle is. He's playing him from behind. Now there's some players that you can do this with. Kyle Anderson is, 5-6 inches taller than Kyrie, so maybe he thinks that he can use his length. But once Kyrie gets you on his hip or gets you playing from behind him, you're out of the play. There's nothing you can do. I mean, you can try to block him from behind, but he's just too shifty and too crafty with the basketball. So once he got him in this position, it's already over with. Now he's just going up, and Gobert does a good job to contest, but the play was over with at this point right here. Once he stunned it and he made this move and got around him, he was already beat. Kyrie gets to his spot and he beats you to his spot. He's not the type of player that's just going to bop and get to a spot and stay there. He's aggressive, so he's going to continue to advance. Once he gets to his spot, now he's trying to get to another spot. If he beats you to the spot and now you're behind him, the play is already over. You're out of the play at this point. Now you have to, you're depending on help defense. You need help defense at this point. Kyle Anderson was beat before the play even started. Here's a play right here that shows Kyrie's basketball IQ. Now, if I run the tape, Luka takes a three. Lively ducks in and gets the offensive board. Now, Kyrie is wide open here for a three. Wide open. You would think that he's going to take this three, right? Wrong. Now, he knows that he's a threat. So he knows anybody that runs to him is going to run to him. They're not going to run and try to recover. They're going to run because they're anticipating him to either take a shot because he's open, he's a capable shooter. So they're going to run and try to contest and get themselves out of the play. And that's what happens here. Norman Powell runs. He's beat. Now just look at this. Look how polarizing this is. 1, 2, 3, 4. All looking at Kyrie. What does this do? This allows Lively to duck back in. 7 foot. How can he duck back in? Nobody see him because everybody's looking at Kyrie. Kyrie hits him. Dunk. And 1. So he passed up a wide open 3 and he got a dunk and a free throw. High percentage. That's Kyrie Irving. There's not much you can really do on a defensive end to stop a Kyrie Irving. It's not much. You kind of have to do it from a team standpoint. Put yourself in position as an on-ball defender to make it difficult for him. Playing the angles, not playing him straight up. Play him back to the middle of the floor, but just know that it's going to be a difficult night for you. If you're called upon to check Kyrie Irving, it's going to be difficult for you. You're going to need your team. I'll be breaking down more film like this in the future. This was just one that I wanted to tap on because we always talk about who's the most skilled player. And from a ball handling standpoint, I think there's no one that matches up with Kyrie. Just whatever he can do on the basketball court just seems flawless for the most part. Now, I mean, he's not a perfect basketball player. There's no one that's a perfect basketball player. Maybe Michael. Yeah, I get Michael. He might be perfect. But as far as skill, he's one of the most skilled players I've ever seen in my lifetime. But that's the end of this video. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. And of course, you are new to this channel because this channel is new. So go ahead and hit the subscribe button on your way out. I'll see you on the next one.